Hey guys, George Diamondyard Sportscards coming at you with another video. I have video responses for 3 of my favorite channels, but before I get to that, I want to say Happy Veterans Day to everyone out there. A great day to celebrate the people that serve our country. And Mike Baseball Collector did a great video with a gentleman named Mike Dewar, I believe, about ball players who served in the military and served, in Vietnam, Korea, World War II, going back to World War I. Really informative. I learned a lot from Mike Dewar. Man, it was great to listen to. So check that out on Golden Age of Cardboard if you have not. So the 3 channels I want to give a shout out to are, first of all, Deadline Today, Wade Boggs fan. John, great meeting you at the National. And John wants us to talk about 5 channels that have less than 500 subs that we want to give a shout out to. That's easy to do. As a matter of fact, I'm going to do more than 5 because there's a lot of very deserving channels that have been making content for a long time and some a short time. But I think you should check them out if you like my channel. Also, Don's Field of Dreams cards, Donnie live stream. Don is having a contest about a story about a card or a hobby or something like that. I got plenty of those, and I'm just going to ramble on about those. So thanks for putting that together, Don. And then lastly, Eric 4-Leaf Cards wants to talk about some of our most beautiful cards. I don't have a ranking. I just picked out some cards I really like. Eric's a wonderful guy. Met him at the National, spent late nights talking to him, and we had a great time. So enough of me talking. Let's look at some cards and do some shout outs. Okay, guys, hope everybody's having a great Veterans Day. I have redone my camera and my table here. It's a white table now. Anyway, so let's go over some shout outs for John Wade Boggs fan. What a great channel. Love John's collection of 70s cards, and he's been putting that together for a while. So shout outs, here we go. Jay Stottlemyre 1. Josh might have the best Babe Ruth collection on YouTube. Josh just picks up some of the best vintage cards out there, and he's probably been doing it for like 4 years. He has 373 subs. That's an absolute crime. Josh is an awesome guy, and he also is extremely knowledgeable. I mean, he was on with Mangini, John, and Vintage Oddball Cards Rick, and they discussed Babe Ruth cards. And I mean, man, if there isn't, I don't know anybody who might know more about Babe Ruth cards than Josh. So give Josh a sub. Next one, Imajag, formerly known as Cardtech 710, Dane. Met Dane, got to know Dane because of our love of wrestling. We're almost the same age. I think we are the same age. And we were collecting some of the similar things. And this is back like 4 or 5 years ago when I first got on YouTube. And Dane, Cardtech 710, I've kept in contact with him. He was at the Arizona State Card Show in September. And Dane has 435 subs. He changed his name to Imajag, so give him a sub. He has got some fantastic stuff. Just texted me a Ric Flair autograph card he picked up that was outstanding. Woo! Next one, my good friend Chuck Northside guy. Now, come on now. Chuck is one of the most knowledgeable people about the Gowdy set, the T206 set. Chuck was on with Don and I on, Hobby Palooza a couple years ago. Just a pleasure to listen to Chuck's knowledge about everything regarding these sets and the hobby. So there's no reason Chuck should have 447 subs. He should have far more. And he consistently publishes his pickups, his videos, and it's always a pleasure to see what he picks up because he has a fantastic eye for cards. So give Chuck a sub. Next, gentleman, Silver Foo Cardboard. Now, Silver Foo Cardboard has been on YouTube for a long time. He takes breaks here and there, but you've got to check him out because he's got one of the great vintage collections. 389 subs, that's a crime. So give him a sub. Next one, newcomer to YouTube, but really has some just amazing stories. Chris from Missouri. I met Chris at the National. He was so friendly. Came right up to me. We started talking. Said he was a fan of my channel. He started doing his own channel recently. Showed us his great pickups at the National, and he has this wonderful, he calls it State Fair find that he did recently with some outstanding, iconic vintage cards that he just got graded from PSA and picked up along with 92 basketballs or something like that. But Chris from Missouri, Chris, keep up the good work with your channel. Next, another gentleman I met at the National, Iconic Al. Iconic Baseball, 431 subs. Al has been doing his countdown of the top 100 players, and he has been doing it kind of through cards. Just a very, very nice guy, kind of soft-spoken, well-spoken, knowledgeable, and I think you need to give Iconic Baseball a sub. So that's for Al. Last one, Grimy Myth Sports Cards, 50 subs. This is my buddy Eric. He's been making content for a while now. He's got 50 subs. That's a crime. Give him a sub. I mean, he had a video. He does a lot of PSA reveals, SGC reveals. Recently showed off a 50 Bowman Jackie, which I will not be showing on my beautiful cards, although you might expect it. But a 50 Bowman Jackie and a PSA 5 that he had picked up recently. So Grimy Myth Sports Cards, give him a sub. Thank you guys for listening to that. And thank you, John, Way Boggs fan, for putting this together. The next person I'm going to do a video or response for is my friend Eric 4-Leaf Cards. This is a beautiful picture of Henry Aaron that he was working on at the National, and I came up and we're talking, and I'm looking at this picture, just talking to him how I think it's just so cool. Love that pose after he just got done, smacking one. And, I'm thinking here, man, what a great picture. And then he goes and he sends this to me. So thank you so much, Eric. Greatly appreciated. I'll put that in the background here. But Eric wanted us to show off some beautiful cards. Well, beautiful cards. I love the Burke Ross set. Burke Ross sets to me are just really cool. And this is the 51 Burke Ross set. Now, I'm going to try to move this down a little bit, get some more light going. The Burke Ross set is a 51, 52. These were in panels. I had hammers on this too with DiMaggio. I prefer just DiMaggio by himself. The 52 set, though, would then have individual cards. And the 52 Burke Ross set, here's a pack wrapper from the Burke Ross set. It's paper. And I picked this up not too long ago. Hit Parade of Champions, which is what it says on the back. Collect them, toss them, trade them. Flick them. Sure, right against the wall. Just hit the corner. Anyway, so the Hit Parade of Champions here, I think 52 Burke Ross is a beautiful set. And you talk about the Bowman color Pee Wee Reese being a trailblazing action card. Well, in the Bowman and the Burke Ross set, Pee Wee's jumping out. And that predates the Bowman set and the action shot of Pee Wee jumping over the sliding base runner. So this Burke Ross set just has some outstanding cards. It's got the same kind of same pose as the 51 Bowman Mantle in this one. So I just can't tell you how much I enjoy this set. It's just an outstanding set in the hobby. But I'm going to show you a few cards from this. We get a beautiful Ted Williams here. Again, the blues. I just love, I know it's not sharp and crisp, but these cards to me are just beautiful. The way the printing is, just kind of from the time period. They're trying to do color and photo at the same time, kind of like they were doing on 49 Bowman. And maybe because it's kind of similar to 49 Bowman, I like it so much. And like 49 Bowman, it has some real key cards. The Maze is a key card. This is the only 52 Ted Williams, I believe. And you're talking about Mantle, Maze, Jackie. I got into the Burke Ross set primarily because I couldn't afford to buy a 52 Topps Jackie at the time, and so I picked up this beautiful one years ago. And it's kind of interesting with this pose because he's jumping in the air, but this was taken not 1952, but if you look at it, 1946 underneath his armpit there, his right armpit, you can see it says 1946. I suspect that this was a photo taken in his rookie year. I would have to do some more research on that. But anyway, this is just a beautiful Jackie Robinson, and I love this card. I think it's a beauty. And you can see the stadium in the background. So many beautiful cards in the Burke Ross set. We're going to move on here. More beautiful cards of all eras. George Brett, O-Pee-Chee, 1979. Love the O-Pee-Chee sets. The colors on the back. The stock on these, while it does get the hair and the fuzz, is really good for photos. And you can see that here. This is just a bright, crispy photo that you'd have a hard time getting this kind of registration on a 79 Topps regular card. Love this with Brett in the field, the All-Star banner, and then, of course, the sunglasses, indicative of the time period, the flip down. So really cool George Brett card. Next one, Dr. J. I mean, this just is a neat card. I've talked about it before on my channel, the way the colors work together. I know this is not his actual, this is the All-Star rookie, but that ABA ball, and this is just a fantastic Dr. J card with beautiful reds and blues and yellows. And of course, you know, he's got the finger roll getting ready to go. Love this card. Another beauty. This is a modern card. I gave one of these away. I think Eddie's Cardboard Chaos won this at my contest. And this is a beautiful Ronald Acuna. I am a huge fan of horizontal cards. Let me see if I can get some more light going on this, guys. Huge fan of horizontal cards. So this is a 2010 Topps Chrome update. Topps Chrome, yeah, update pink refractor. The colors are awesome. And I just love that pose, you know, with him running down the ball's in the air, it's catching it. The Glaber looks really cool with Yankee Stadium in the background. The Soto, they're all horizontal in these rookie debut cards, and I just think they're fantastic. So, not a super rare modern card, but just a really cool looking one. Continuing with beautiful cards. Can't leave this one out. My favorite Hank Aaron card. This is the 1960 Topps Hank Aaron, and I can't tell you how much I just think this card is awesome. It really just, the colors pop, and I just, for Hank Aaron's cards, I mean, he's got so many great cards, but I just think the blues, the set is so cool, horizontal. I'm just a huge fan. More beautiful cards. This is one of the first cards I got during the pandemic. When it hit, I picked up this card because I saw it. It wasn't expensive. It was in a high grade for a 35 Gaudy. And these 35 Gaudis are outstanding. I mean, I just always wanted this Yankees card. Love the blue border on this, not the red, because it's the Yankees. You got, I believe, 3 Hall of Famers here, and it's just, the registration is just killer on it. And I just like the 35 Gaudy set. I think it's beautiful. I think it's underrated. You know, what are the key cards? Well, the Ruth, but he's on the Braves. Here we have, you know, Lazeri, Ruffing, and Dickey, Hall of Famers. You know, the Cardinals one is great with Dizzy Dean, and as well as the Tigers with Hank Greenberg, the A's with Jimmy Fox. There's just some cool cards in this 35 Gaudy set, and I just really think it's a neat one. Down the stretch here, beautiful cards, Satchel Paige, Venezuelan Topps. The Venezuelan Topps Retirado set is just fantastic, and it's really rare. You also, the blue background, the pink Retirado at the bottom. These pictures, the Jackie Robinson's really cool, the Gehrig's really cool, DiMaggio, and of course the Sandy Koufax is like the big one. But anyway, this Satch, what really makes, the colors make this for me, but also, number 2, the back. It's still intact. This back is intact. It's not ripped apart like you see on a lot of these cards where it was glued in a book. Now, the corners are chewed, given. There's a crease down the middle of the card. But it's hard to find a Satch that has this eye appeal. It's not just Satch, it's any of these Venezuelan Topps Retirado cards. But anyway, just a big fan of that. And I'm going to pair this card with one of the most beautiful cards in my collection, and it's not a card, it's a rendition of a card. And it was part of the National. Scott Reindeer Studios gave me this card that he had drawn, a 1941 play ball Satchel Paige. And I'm going to try to get some room on this. If you've probably seen it, it's a woodcut, so it's 3-dimensional. And this card is awesome. It also goes into Don's response when you talk about stories of cards, and I gave Scott the go on this a while ago, and he in the picture, and had an idea about what I wanted, and then he took it from there, and it just means a lot the way he took the time and the effort to really make this look awesome. I mean, the pastels in the background look like a 41 play ball card. I don't have the cards around now, but I'd love to pair this with some of the 41 play balls I have. But when you talk about beautiful cards, 1941 play ball Satchel Paige. So Don, Field of Dreams cards. We're going to do some stories of cards. And so here's one. Just from the National, along with beautiful cards. I picked this card up. Obviously, Dave Blue Jacket 66 loves to talk about this card. Rightfully so, of course. It's a beauty. And so I found this one at the National, and I remember this because I was walking around with B. Roth, who I had known for a while but never really met. And we walked around and paparazzi, John talking ball cards, and I was able to pick this card up. But the memory, the card is great and beautiful and wonderful. But the memory of, you know, walking around at the National, the floor with those guys, it was a lot of fun. And so, you know, I was thinking, this is for John. I'm going to get myself a glizzy. We had a couple cold Leinenkugels, not Leinenkugels, Yinglings, and we had a couple glizzies. So that was a beautiful card and has a story. This is a neat card because it's a beauty, and this is important because when I was in high school, I had a couple Jordan rookies, and the best one, not the best one, one of the ones I had, and I knew what the grades, not the grades were then, but like you could knew pretty much you had a nice card. So I went to the mall and there was a card show going on, and I was like, well, you know, Jordan is okay, but you know, I was trying to get some vintage baseball. And so I did a trade. I took one of my nicer Jordan rookies, which was probably, you know, these days would grade like a 7+. And I sold it or traded it to these gentlemen. And they were super excited, of course. And I was too, because I got this Lou Brock. And this Lou Brock was killer. I eventually got it graded. It got an 8. I had a Tom Seaver I got 4 68s. I got a Maris, a Palmer, a Brock, and a Seaver. I have the Seaver, graded a 7. I have this Brock, it graded an 8. That Jordan probably, again, would have graded a 7+. So whenever I see this Lou Brock card, I appreciate how beautiful it is. But it's not quite as beautiful as a high-grade Jordan, maybe. But anyway, just reminds me of going to Valley West Mall and making that swap. So live and learn. My grandfather used to take me out to Sun Angel Stadium, and he's the big influence on my baseball card collecting and my love of baseball, along with my mom. Robin Yount. Robin Yount had one of the greatest seasons by a shortstop of all time in 1982 when he won the MVP. Well, we used to go out to watch Harvey's Wallbangers spring training. Look at those stats. 331, 210 hits, 46 doubles, 29 dongs, 114 RBI, walked 54, struck out 63, 14 stolen bases. Just an outstanding season, a 10+ WAR season by Robin Yount, who would win 2 MVPs and is highly underrated, frankly, all time. And so we got some autographs out there, and this is one of them I got back in 1983, and had him sign that, of course, in blue pen, because that's what you did. You didn't really know, I didn't know about Sharpie or whatever. So anyway, I got this graded, went out to the Brewers Stadium again with my grandfather, and so I have very fond memories of that. Here's one that my son, and I'm not stopping, so I hope you guys, I got a few more. This is a second-year Mike Trout. My son Ryan bought me this set, and let me see here. Bought me this set, and we got this one graded. We pulled it out and got it graded. It's Ryan's Mike Trout second year. So Ryan liked Mike Trout. He liked Paul Goldschmidt a lot until he got traded to the Cardinals, or went over to the Cardinals. But anyway, so beautiful Mike Trout always reminds me of my son Ryan. Coming down the home stretch here. When I was younger, eventually I got into liking vintage cards, and I loved to find ones that were in good condition. And so at the card shop one day, like 1985, and I see this one, and it's like $20. And I'm like, that's Yogi Berra. And I said, man, I'm going to see if they'll take 15, because that's like all I have. So I asked the woman if she'd take 15, and she said, sure. And I kept it in my collection all these years, and then I got it graded back when I got back in the hobby, like in 2006, 2007, and it did pretty good. But it's one of my best Yogi Berra cards. I just think it's so fantastic. And he's, you know, as a kid, I even knew then, 57s, man, they are super tough. Really tough to get, you know, centered, and also to have a nice picture. But there's Yogi, 57 tops. Just kind of reminds me of going to the card shop when I was a kid. Few more here. I'm just going to finish up with these. These are my Slurpee coins. So Slurpee coins came out in 1983 in a test issue, and they came out in California with the Dodgers and the Angels. Well, I lived in Arizona, but nothing like biking down and getting a Slurpee. So when the football season hit in 1983, I was on board with getting these Slurpee coins, and I was like, man, I'm going to drink as many Slurpees as I can get my hands on. 1983 Joe Montana Slurpee coins. So 7-Eleven did regional issues in 83, and Montana was part of that. Rookie. Marcus Allen rookie. And so picked these up, you know, these are from my childhood. Anyway, so then 84, I was excited because I knew baseball was really popular, and then we're going to have some baseball ones. So that's when I just went all in, full tilt. Myself a nice George Brett, Ricky Henderson, Rod Carew. We were in the Western region, so it didn't matter if I had to ride miles in the heat to go out and get myself a Slurpee, I was going to do that because they had Slurpee coins, and that's what I wanted to do. And then we had Sweetness Walter Payton at 84. Beautiful Slurpee coin. The great Walter Payton. So guys, thanks for watching. I appreciate it. Give a shout out to all three of those channels. Also, just wanted to make sure that you're thinking about subscribing to the channels that I mentioned. They're all wonderful channels. And again, shout out to Four Leaf. Shout out to Don's Field of Dreams cards, and shout out to Scott with the Satch here, but Wade Boggs, Stan, John. Thanks, guys. Have a wonderful Veterans Day, and keep collecting.